Welcome to the Circle of Trust podcast with your host, law firm CMO Keith Dyer. Brought to you by LexGrow, the leader in law firm marketing strategy, training, and implementation. If you're ready to grow your law firm with predictable case flow and revenue, you're in the right place.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Circle of Trust episode today. I'm excited to have a new friend, Brian Branch, on. Brian, you're located in Nashville, Tennessee, right?
No, not even close. Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Oh, that's funny because I had down here that you were in Nashville, but I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Tell me the name of the
right. What?
That's where the home office is for your firm?
No, I don't have any connection to Nashville.
Okay, great. So you're in Albuquerque, New Mexico. What is the name of your firm now? Because I obviously have the wrong.
So the name of my firm is the Law Office of Brian K. Branch, but I'm really more of counsel with another firm here called Davis Keelan LLC.
Davis Keelan LLC. Every time I think of law firms in Albuquerque, I think of Better Call Saul and and those shows. I actually really, really like those shows. And it made me interested in wanting to come to Albuquerque and see it just because the topography is so different than where I live. I live in North Carolina. You were asking me that as the video played. So I'm sorry that we interrupted you there. But yeah, I live in Wrightsville Beach, Wilmington, North Carolina area.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of on the ocean there. I don't know if you can see it, but behind me here I live kind of on a little marina. It's pretty nice. I like it. But yeah, so tell me about how you got into practicing law and what kind of law you practice.
So I got into it. My father was an attorney. He got admitted back in the mid 60s. My uncle was an attorney. My stepmother's an attorney. My sister's an attorney. My brother-in-law is an attorney. My wife's an attorney. So it was just kind of a natural progression. When I got out of college, I went to law school and worked for my dad's firm. As far as probably, I would say 85 to 90% of my practice is personal injury and this is almost all plaintiffs. Personal injury, wrongful death, insurance bad faith. I do maybe about 10% on gas and oil royalty cases. But the vast majority is personal injury and wrongful death.
Okay. And so how did you get into, you said you got into that doing through your parents. Where did you go to law school in undergraduate?
I started my first year at University of Denver, and then I transferred and graduated from University of New Mexico.
Oh, very cool. Okay. So when we first started talking a little while ago, you mentioned that you were kind of solo right now, not solo in your practice, but you're not trying to grow tremendously. In the past, what are some of the ways that you did grow that were successful for you? And maybe what were some of the ones that were not successful, like some of the ways you tried?
Well, things have changed a lot here in New Mexico. I mean, when I first started in '87, there wasn't really much of any marketing, and you're probably more familiar with this than I am. That was about the time that the U.S. Supreme Court came out with its decision that saying prohibiting attorneys from advertising was unconstitutional. And we had one or two firms that did that, and everybody looked down their nose at it, to be quite honest.
Right.
And about 15 years ago, and it was kind of the perfect storm because it's when Texas did tort reform. And our Supreme Court about that time did reciprocity, which opened the gates, and we just have all kinds of out-of-state attorneys here. I mean, you drive down the freeway now, and it's just incredible the number of billboards and the number of TV ads. I mean, it's gotten crazy. I've never done that because I think when you start doing that, you have to sort of have a firm that's set up to do that kind of volume. And I've just never done that. So really, my marketing is always focused on old clients, getting referrals from other attorneys, getting referral from prior clients. You know, I sort of, before I came over to where I'm at now, the firm I'm at now, I mean, I did have somebody, you know, working on my website and making sure that I came up with the SEO stuff. But other than, you know, like doing CLEs, going out and talking to civic groups, that's really been my focus on marketing, to be honest with you, because it just didn't make sense to me to start competing with guys that were spending millions or whatever they're spending on TV and radio and all of that stuff. And I'm not saying that's not a good way to go, but it just seems like it's going against the current. There's just so many people doing it here.
Yeah, Albuquerque is one of those markets that's probably pretty well suited for personal injury law firms. With that, is that a correct assumption?
Yeah, and I think what's happened is they basically gutted the tort system in Texas, so we had that big influx. But I mean, we have firms coming in from Arizona, but and I don't know how much you monitor it, but we've had a lot. Probably, I mean, it's incredible the number of big verdicts that have come out of here probably in the last 10 years.
I don't monitor the verdicts, but I know states that are friendly or have friendlier verdicts for the law firms and
We're we're
and for
definitely a blue state.
yeah, and for the victims, right? You know, this state is not known for that. It's the other way around. There are counties though within the state that are, so we sort of know where those are, and that it's true in many places, but that's kind of how it works here. So I get that you weren't. I'm. It's interesting to talk to someone that's of similar age that I am, and what you said just a few minutes ago that a long time ago it was very much frowned upon to be a marketer in the law world, right? And then laws were passed that allowed that to happen. But I still feel like even here when I go to different events, I see lawyers that really frown on the big marketing firms, the ones that really put out a lot of ads and things like that. I look at it though, and you can tell me what you think, is that in some cases I think it's fine because I think, well, first of all, I think it's fine in general, but it's just getting more people for that firm to help if they're a good firm. You know what I mean? They're still good for law firms, even if they don't, if they're marketing. The ones that I work with, I feel like are good because the ones I work with are traditionally not the big giant law firms. They're marketing and they need to market and get their share of clients, but they're just almost forced to compete. So they have to, but they're not afraid of litigation. They're not afraid of fighting for what their clients deserve. So I feel good about what I'm doing and getting them more clients. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I would partially agree with that because I mean when it first started, I mean the people that you were seeing doing the advertising, especially on TV, but on radio too, were kind of the settlement mill firms, where I mean they weren't going to trial, they were just basically settling. And I think what was happening is they were getting not just the smaller cases, they were getting the bigger cases, and then they were referring them out. And I think it's just progressed over the years where even the good attorneys and the good firms have realized that you've got to do some marketing in order to get the cases in. Whether they like it or not, it's a fact of life.
Yeah, it's kind of taken instead of being something that you might want to do, you have to.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, it's, especially just with the influx of plaintiffs firms we've had in New Mexico in the last 15 years.
Yeah, so I totally agree with that and see where you're coming from with that. I What we focus on here though is a little bit different because I see ad agencies out there doing work and some of them are great and I'm not talking anything negative about ad agencies, but you should not be allowing the ad agency to drive the strategy of your growth because it's kind of like if you were going to buy a car. if you went to a Toyota dealership and asked what kind of car you should buy, the Toyota dealer is going to tell you every time that you should buy a Toyota, which actually is not a bad choice. But I'm just saying, you want an objective person on your side. And so that's what my company is about is helping implement marketing and helping build strategy, but from the law firms on the law firm side, as if I was, directly employed by the firm. That's how I view my job anyway. So, it may not make sense for many firms, like you were talking about before. A lot of firms don't want to be billboard and TV law firms. They want to get their share of cases, and they're going to just tap into the existing demand and try to build their brand. And maybe they build their brand in a more authentic or, build it virally as opposed to trying to plaster it all over the city. And so we try to help firms with that kind of strategy as well. But, we also help with big firms buying billboards and TV and all that too. So sometimes each firm, the point I'm making, has its goals, and we try to match up a plan with those goals. And not to sell my services, I'm just explaining how I look at things and why I built this business the way that I did.
That makes sense to me. I mean, every firm is unique.
Yeah.
I really, to be honest with you, we're not geographically, we're a big state, but population-wise, we are not. We have 2 million people in the entire state. We're the 5th largest state geographically, and I just scratch my head when I see the number of TV ads and billboards. I'm like, where in the world are all these cases coming from?
It's surprising. I live in a smaller town than you do. Albuquerque's a pretty large city.
Albuquerque, the metro area, is probably 1 million.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking between 1 million and 2 million. So that's a pretty large metro area, similar to the size of Charlotte, North Carolina. But where I live is only a couple 100,000 people in three or four counties. And I'm shocked at how many cases come here. It's crazy. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, it really is. So,
well, I think a lot of them are sort of what I would call just, the lower end kind of, soft tissue kind of stuff. But I guess there's enough of those for there to be, for there to be volume, because I see it coming in. So it's interesting to me. So you said you're looking at maybe you're kind of maybe winding down, not completely, but eventually here in your career. When do you anticipate maybe that happening?
Well, 3 years ago, I said a year, and here I am. So, I don't know. I've got kind of a good deal because, the firm I'm at, there's 5 attorneys, and they're all in their 40s. So here's why it's kind of good for me, because, and I've had this conversation with them, is when I decide I've had enough, I can basically pass the baton off and, right off into the sunset. And here's why that's advantageous to me. It's not like I have to say I can't take any more cases, because I still enjoy working on a lot of cases. I don't enjoy handling 50 cases like I used to, but I can still handle cases and I still enjoy it. But there's going to come a day when enough's enough, and it's kind of nice to have the ability to basically just transfer them over and still have the ability to work on stuff. So I've got 4 cases on appeal right now, 2 up at the 10th Circuit, no, 1 up at the 10th Circuit, 2 at the New Mexico Supreme Court, and 1 at the New Mexico Court of Appeals. And they're all brief. We've done oral argument on the ones that are going to have oral argument. So we'll see when those get through what my disposition is.
I understand where you're coming from. I started this business with my mother almost 23 years ago. And she kept saying she was going to retire, and she never did. And actually, she ended up outliving her desire to retire. She passed away last year, and she was still working and doing, and actually work. Thank you. And working very, very efficiently at 82 years old still. So that's,
and everybody's different. So, it's not like I have a plan January 1st, I'm done. It's just kind of, I got to at least get through those appeals, and then we'll reconfigure. My wife and I are building up a house up in Colorado right now, so that may change things. So we'll see.
Where in Colorado?
You know where Durango is?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. So up in Durango, which is about a little over a 3-hour drive from here.
That's beautiful. That'll be beautiful, man. Yeah.
No, it's really nice. It's up in the San Juan Mountains. It's beautiful up there.
Yeah, and I love the weather this time of year there. It's
No, I was just up there this weekend checking on some stuff, and I was 102 in Albuquerque, and at our place, which is outside of town and it's a little bit higher, it was 78 degrees.
yeah, you can't beat that. I mean, we don't have quite that difference here, but in North Carolina, you can be on the coast or in the coastal plain, they call it, and it'd be in the 100 degrees or 90 some, heavy humidity, pretty oppressive. And then you drive to the mountains, and you get up 4,000, 5,000 feet, and it's 75 degrees and no humidity. And so a lot of people do the mountains in the summer and stay down at the coast during the winter.
No, we drove back to North Carolina. It was about this time 2 years ago to pick up a dog in Raleigh, but we drove all the way to Raleigh, North Carolina, and back in 5 days. But we did spend a couple of nights in Asheville, which was really nice.
Asheville's a great little town. It's changed a lot, but yes, it's a cool place. It's got a lot of nice little restaurants and kind of quaint. I go up there often and I go to the Biltmore a lot because it's just a beautiful place to go.
We did that. It
Yeah,
was definitely worthwhile.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's kind of like America's castle, And then I stay at the Grove Park Inn. I don't know if you ever heard of that, but if you come back through this way, you should stay there. A lot of presidents stayed there through the year. It's got a big, giant stone balcony with fireplaces, and it overlooks.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a very cool place.
I don't remember. We stayed somewhere downtown. I couldn't tell you where it was, but it was good. We had a good visit, so I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'd like to get out to Colorado more. And I mean, I'm not one that's been a lot to places out west. I've been to Denver. I know where Durango is. I've been to a lot of places, but I've always wanted to go to all of the national parks, which I've not done, like Yosemite and, all those. I've never done.
I mean, the good thing is if you were in Durango, you're probably within 5 hours of all those ones, Moab and Arches and all of those different national monuments, with all the rock formations in Utah are real close to there. So it's kind of nice.
I'll have to come check it out sometime. So if you, do you have any, like, in terms of growing your law firm, have you ever been a part of any programs or read any books that you thought were worthwhile? I always ask this question because I like to give folks resources if they are looking for them.
No, I was never very good at that. I mean, I've always, because I was born and raised here. My mom was born and raised here. My granddad was. I mean, when I grew up in Albuquerque, it was 150,000 people, and my family's been here for close to 100 years. So
wow.
I just always relied on just people I knew and former clients I had or other attorneys that brought me into cases. So that's really, I don't have any words of wisdom to argue or to offer as far as that's concerned.
Well, I appreciate your telling me that, your honesty with it. I mean, it's not for everybody. I mean, I get it.
Well, no, and I'm not looking down my nose at it because I know you read it, but I always think is how much harder it would be if I was starting out right now, even being here as long as I have. But I've always just had plenty of work relying on that, so I've been fortunate that way.
Well, like you said before, everybody's different in what they want and what their ambitions are, and you're right. It's a different era. It's a lot different than it was 10, 15, 20 years ago for sure.
Well,
Can
and I know attorneys that were born and raised here that do a lot of marketing, but they're looking more, they have 13, 14, 15 attorneys. And I just never wanted to have to manage that many people, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, fair enough. So did you ever watch any of those shows? Did you think they were really silly? The one that was really law firm focused was the Better Call Saul with a different, when he was in that law firm. I found those shows to be extremely entertaining, not because of the law firm stuff in them, just in general. I thought they were pretty good. Did you,
But you know
watch
what?
them?
No, it's funny because my wife and I watched Breaking Bad and
Yeah.
watched it, and then Better Call Saul came out, and we watched 2 or 3 episodes, and I really liked it. And then for whatever reason, we got basically sidetracked. So we put that on. When I retire, we're going to binge watch it. So,
Well, it's good. It's just as good as Breaking Bad, but it's not quite as hand wringing, and it's just a little more intellectual. I think a little bit.
no, I've got it on our list. We just haven't gotten to it yet.
Well, I highly recommend it, and I think you'll enjoy it. And I appreciate your time today, and thank you for being here and letting us learn about you and your firm.
It's nice visiting with you.
Nice visiting with you too.
Thanks for listening to the Circle of Trust powered by LexGrow. If you enjoyed today's episode, follow us and leave a review. Want to grow your law firm faster? Book a free strategy call at lexgrow.com. Until next time, keep growing, keep innovating. Let's grow with LexGrow.